and welcome to another Pasta Chat. It's been a while and I'm making a mess. Life's been up and down, stuff's been happening, I've been very busy, not been able to do as much stuff that I would have liked, but it doesn't matter because we're doing stuff, now and then, keeping up to date. Basically, I put on Instagram what Pasta Chat idea should we do, and this one is going to be about two things: how to rush slowly in training, and then how my coaching kind of perspective has changed from very performance heavy to a bit more enjoyment heavy. So the first one, how to rush slowly. I've been injured a lot recently, and it got to the point where it was just fucking boring as hell just being injured. So I just decided one day, look, I'm not injured, I'm going to train, but I'm going to start again. I'm going to train again, I'm going to start from the very bottom and build up from there. Now, to me, I had to rush slowly. I had to rush really slowly. I'm only 3 or 4 weeks in, but I've already learned quite a lot about what this rush slowly thing is. So, Mem told me about rush slowly back in the day, obviously everyone knows that. And I've talked to Mem a little bit about it since. And I used to think that the old rush slowly was really just about, not pushing the weight crazy, and being really diligent with making reps of snatch and clean and jerk just look nice, and pushing kind of the speed and the power rather than just the weight. So for 7 or 8 years, I've been lifting. I have just pushed strength, really. Like my max strength, I've just been pushing that. Not necessarily just 1RMs, but on volume things as well. And I've just been pushing the strength stuff really hard. Now, because of that, I've got a big base, I've got a big strength reserve, and what I want to start doing is using my strength reserve to then allow me to train in a bit more power based fashion. So I'm going to start to train a little bit more speed heavy, not push the strength stuff as much. Hopefully that will keep me fresh as well, but it will also, hopefully I'll be able to address some of these qualities that I haven't trained that much, and it might just be a low-hanging fruit that gives me some more gains, marginal gains or not, and allows me to push my performance. So in things like the snatch and clean jerks at the moment, I found a weight that I was comfortable to start on. It was about 60%, and I just rushed slowly from there. So that was basically keeping at the same weight for a month, and then upping it by 5%, let's say. So for me, it's the Olympic lifts don't increase until every 4 weeks. The strength stuff also increases every 4 weeks, but I've staggered it, so it's every 2 weeks something changes. So every 2 weeks something on my program changes in terms of weight, whether that's strength stuff or Olympic lifting stuff or accessory stuff. And I found that to be really useful. So upping the weights slowly is obviously a big thing. The only thing that comes with that is having some level of enjoyment and challenge. Everyone knows that just doing the same thing over and over again for weeks and weeks and weeks, for most people is probably quite boring. For me it's quite fun because it kind of sits into my OCD, autism kind of personality, and actually works pretty well. So I'm okay with it, but I know for some people it will be very hard to maintain that. And one thing that I found has really helped, so let's say I started my snatch and clean jerk on 100, 120, and the first week maybe I just did singles, or blocks, but I just did singles. I'm trying to increase the volume before I increase the weight. So over that 4 weeks, try and just make my volume increase. So I've built up this big base, and then the last kind of week, for example, I did 110 for a set of 10 snatch. So obviously that's a big volume, and I wouldn't do that all the time, but it's kind of keeping the relative intensity really high, even though the actual intensity is fairly low. So that actual intensity is about 75%, but obviously that set of 10 felt like 105%. Bloody hell, it felt awful. So that will help some people keep that level of enjoyment and that challenge, rather than just being really boring and really dull all the time, just repeating the same stuff. At the same time, you have to be conscious that the lifts should feel fairly sharp. Not necessarily easy, but fairly sharp. It shouldn't be super like grindy all the time. There's a time and place for it, but they shouldn't be super grindy all the time. And I think there is a bit of a kind of RPE element to that as well, where you have to be able to know when to drop the weight or up the weight, based on your own experience and your own, I guess your own experience of your body as well, knowing what it can and can't handle, and gradually building up from there. So what I'll say about that is, it might sound boring to some of you. I'm only increasing my Olympic lifting stuff every 4 weeks, but I'm increasing the difficulty every session, so that keeps it interesting. And that patience, I do think, is going to be so useful in the long run. Obviously, we'll see where it goes. I mean, it might not be. I might get injured again in the next 2 weeks. Hopefully not, touch wood. But these things can happen. At the moment, I'm feeling very, very strong. 110 for 10. It's obviously a huge PB. I've never done 10 before, but it was a real set of 10. It was straight to the bar. My 130 for set for 5 that I did in Christmas time. Yes, it was a PB. It was a set of 5. It was a bit, it was in the rest in between reps was getting a bit longer. Still a 5 RM, I would say, but it's promising, and it shows that after 4 weeks I'm already getting back to a good spot. I'm moving faster than I think I've ever moved, even though I'm the heaviest I've ever been, and I think that bodes well. And I'm a lot more pain-free now. I can do pretty much, the only thing I can't do is reverse hypers. Obviously I don't give a hell about that, like, who cares. The only thing I can't do is reverse hypers, because it stretches my sciatic nerve. I just don't do them. I can do jumps, I haven't tried sprints actually yet. I should be okay. I can do drills, sprint drills, and I can do single leg jumps and all the Olympic lifts. I can do like lunge jumps, full intensity, absolutely fine. And then what else can I think that's everything. I think I can do everything except reverse hypers. So it's going well, but if you're someone who, when they get to that point, like I'm at now, where, touch wood, you actually are healthy, how do you not go absolutely crazy and just start sending weights all the time? And it's like what I said, focus on trying to improve the quality of the lift first. So improve the quality of your, let's say you do a 70% single, okay, next time I'm going to try and make it even better, I'm going to look better. And then I'm going to make it a double, and then I'm going to make it a complex, or I'm going to make it a snatch plus overhead squat, or whatever it is. And just try and delay the increase of intensity for as long as possible. So try to delay the up in the weight as long as possible, and just try and practice this rush slowly thing. I think it will pay off for you, but just being a bit slower and a bit more deliberate with the weight increases. What I would say is, what's helped me a lot is this buffered system where I do 4 weeks of weights at the same weight, and I think at some point it will speed up when my joints get stronger and stronger and stronger rather than just getting strong in the old muscles. But staggering it with the strength stuff, so there is actually quite a lot of change in my program. There is actually quite a lot of variation. It's not just the same thing every month all the time. I've changed the exercises. I've kept, so say for example I'm doing 100 snatch for 4 weeks. It might start off with singles, it might go to hangs, it might go to slow snatches. I'm just trying to make it as hard as possible, so I'm trying to increase the intensity, the relative intensity as much as possible, until once I do a set of 10, I'm kind of like, well, look, I can probably move the weight up now. And I'm not going to do that forever, because that would be ridiculous, and linear periodization wouldn't work that well. I could basically just do that forever, and that theoretically would work, and obviously that's not the way. But yeah, this has also influenced my little bit more recent revelation of my coaching being trying to aim for a bit more fun rather than, I think I've always tried to make it fun. I've never tried to make it shit for people, but I do think that coaches a lot of the time get overly focused on performance to the detriment of enjoyment, and they push getting medals at comps and getting records and peaking for comps, qualifying for things, more than actually getting a big group of people together, having a good time and making good kind of relationships. So we had this session on Saturday. It was bloody unbelievable yesterday. We had Paulina, Chris Campbell, Emily Thompson just going mental on the big platform. we had Cummo back to his best, Harry and Mac shared a bar, Tara was there, Scarlett was there, you know, we had the beginners and the first class, Squat Sunbathe turned up. It was just one of those sessions, it was just the most fun environment I've been in a long time. And it's a shame we missed a few. Will was doing a comp, Ollie, which it was a fucking clean and deadlift comp, which is like, that is him. Ollie's on holiday, Declan's working, so we had a few people missing as well, so it could have been even bigger and even better. So that's promising. But after that, I was thinking, oh, do you know what? Like, this was way more fun than doing XYZ at comps and whatnot. Comps are fun, comps are cool, but sometimes just training with your mates and having a good time and pushing each other that way, you know, is fun. So I think more recently I've focused on a bit more pushing the enjoyment side. Now, I can't push people's enjoyment to the point of them just never making any gains, because if someone's like, I don't know, if someone really needs to do lifts from the deficit, let's say, if someone really wants to do lifts from the hang, like me, or blocks, and they're not, because they're not that good at it, and obviously it helps, you know, it means their lifts from the floor are hindered in some way, I'm not just gonna never program it because I don't like it. I don't like hangs, but I have to do them, because if I just did what I enjoyed all the time, whether people like it or not, that's also not that fun when you only do the things you like, because then you don't really get much better. There's obviously a balance. You can't just only do the things you hate, because then you'll hate it, obviously. But finding that balance, and I guess that's the art of programming for the individual. But that's been something that I've thought of more recently. Of, well, where are my priorities? And my priorities, when I coach different people, will change for different people. So I know, for example, like Tomo has higher aspirations in terms of he wants to represent Britain. He wants to do it. I think he's willing to do the stuff that isn't as fun, because his personality is like, he just likes it anyway. But also he's got the British coming up, so he's had to do stuff specific for that. Whereas other people, like Ollie, for example, you know, similarly talented, if not, you know, as talented, but, you know, I think he's focused a little bit more on the enjoyment side and making it just having a bit more fun rather than just going crazy for comps all the time. So my approach would be different for both of them, and that's another conversation really, because that's a long conversation. Yeah, hopefully that was useful. I don't really know what else I would say for that, other than that I used to be very competition driven, in the sense where if people weren't going to comps and winning, my ego as a coach would be hit, or would be attacked. So it's been quite nice having that revelation of, do you know what, like, I feel like it's a weird one, because I feel like I've proven myself as a good coach. I've taken many people to, you know, many already good lifters to even bigger heights. Comps won, medals, records. I think I've proven myself as a coach, but I still want to push myself more. I don't want to just settle on where I am. But I think actually having proven myself has helped my ego as well, because it means now that, like, okay, now I'm kind of, people aren't looking at me thinking, who the fuck's this guy? People are looking at me thinking, okay, he's decent, he's reasonable. And if I'm having fun with my lifters at comps as well, it probably is a good thing as well. But yeah, I used to think that if one of my lifters did bad at a comp, that it would look bad on me, like it looks shit on me kind of thing. But I know that's not the case. I just had that, I thought I was Pepper then, had the ego issue of feeling low self-esteem when my lifters were doing it, and that's not fair on the lifter, more than anything. But having a new kind of perspective where I don't necessarily care about, I want my lifters to get better and better. I want them to win comps, I want them to be strong. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying my whole identity doesn't rest on the fact that they do well at comps. It rests on, my whole identity really rests on me as a person and the people that I coach, and how they are as people, not how talented they are, how hard they work, how nice they are. And that was a good thing about the session yesterday, was that we had, you know, all the legends like Ben Carter, Tara, Gaia, all the the lovely people at Bounce, where I'm like, wow, these are such a good reflection of the club because they're such nice people, and then we had people like Squat Sunday who came in, James. He's never met any of them really except Combo, and he was shaking hands with everyone, helping out the beginners for free, just helping out, loading people's bars, and just being a great guy. And it was just one of those ones where I'm more proud of that, I think, than I'm more proud of people like that, and Combo than Combo snatching 140 yesterday. I mean, obviously I'm proud of that. I think that's cool, but I think I'm more proud of who they are as people. Combo as well, obviously. I'm not just saying that James and Tara are great people and Combo's not. Obviously he is. But that's kind of where I'm heading towards with my mindset of coaching. Yeah, I guess that's a new update from me. In terms of training, update from me, not much going on. Early doors in this new block, but enjoying it. Body actually feeling very good. Not being hurt, which is nice actually. And I can actually put max effort in to things without being in pain. And the pasta's ready. So have a wonderful day.